Hey, fourth grade families. Welcome to the 2021-2022 JPE Virtual Open House. We've had a great start to our school year, with the exception of Hurricane Ida, and we've really been enjoying getting to know your kids and what we've been able to accomplish so far this year. We'd love to share some information with you to help our year go as smoothly as possible. I'm Sarah McCrary. I teach fourth grade math, and I'm going to start off by sharing some information with you about our academic and behavioral expectations, and how we're communicating those things to you at home so you can know what's going on during your child's school day. To begin, I'm going to address the classroom culture that we all have. Miss Bales, Miss Booth, and I have developed some consistent rules and procedures that are true across the board in all three of our classrooms. And our goal in doing that is that students really know what's expected of them. We want them to be excited about coming to school, and we want them to feel safe and ready every day. And having consistent expectations is one way that we've tried to set that up for them. A couple of examples of some things that we all do are in every class, students come in and unpack their belongings. They hang their backpacks where they go in the classroom, and they don't go back to those backpacks until it's time to pack up at the end of the day. Um, they are always able to get a Kleenex or a Band-Aid at any time that they need it. If they have a bathroom emergency, they're able to take care of that at any time. But otherwise, we ask them to remain in their seats during instruction so we can make sure that time is being used effectively. We also give them some permission to regulate their own bathroom needs. If it's not during an instructional time, they're able to use the restroom as long as they take the pass and sign out. And so those are some common things that we've done in our classrooms to make sure students feel ready to learn. One way that we're communicating those things to home is through the planners. Our student planners are a communication tool from school to home, and they serve two purposes. So there are two sections in the planner. The first part of the planner has several calendars where teachers will record both behavior and responsibility marks. Those two types of marks have two different pages. Behavior marks are things that students may have done where they did not display appropriate self control, they broke a rule, they were ugly to a classmate or a teacher, they were disrespectful to an adult at school, they were disruptive during class. Those are the types of behaviors that would get a behavior mark on the behavior calendar. We do give students warnings, but at this point in the school year, things like hallway expectations or lunchroom expectations are things that we're not going to give warnings about anymore. They know when they're allowed to talk, they know when they're allowed to not talk when they're not allowed to talk, and we expect them to follow those rules. If not, the way we let you know that that's happening is through a behavior mark. Students get two or more behavior marks on a specific day. They do not receive a check for that day. And checks are a way that we tally up how many successful days a student has in a specific time of the school year. We're looking for a certain number of checks for a student to be able to attend the party at the end of that specific time of the year where we celebrate those students who have earned enough checks to go. That party is called JagFest. We have one coming up a week from this Friday, and we hope that your student has earned the right to attend. The other type of marks that we might give a student are responsibility marks. These are marks where a student may have forgotten their materials, they may have left their lunchbox in the cafeteria, those types of things where it's not necessarily a behavior, but just a little bit mismanagement of a day. We want you to know that that's happening. If a student is consistently forgetting their homework, say, we want you to know that that's happening, but these types of marks are not marks that contribute to their earning JAGFest or take away from them earning JAGFest. Um, The second part of the planner is where we're communicating to you student homework. Those are the dated pages in the back of the planner. In class, each day, students have the opportunity to record their homework. And so you can check those days to see what homework they have for that specific day. Um, I know that when I get home, I don't always remember what happened during the day, and so I'm sure that your students may have a hard time telling you what their homework is, but you can always find that in the planner. At this point in a student's education career, we do not think that it's necessary for you to have to sign the planners every single day. But we do ask that when graded paper folders come home on Wednesdays, that you go ahead and sign those planners too on that Wednesday so that you get a weekly glance of what your student, the kind of a snapshot of their week. If something more urgent needs to be communicated, we will definitely give you a call or send you an email or a note home. But if you could check those planners on a weekly basis and sign them on Wednesdays, we would appreciate it. Moving on to academic expectations, we are letting you know how your child is doing in two ways. One is through red folders. They're sent home on Wednesdays and they are full of students' graded work so that you can review them with your child. If a paper has a grade of A, B, or C, you can keep that at home and display it on the fridge and celebrate that win. And if the papers are a D or an F, we ask that you please sign them and send them back to school. We'll file those papers. While you can also look at PowerSchool, the other way we communicate grades, and you're able to see the average, you're able to see a general overview of how they're doing and if they're missing grades. The good thing about the graded paper folder is you get detail. What did your child actually miss? Is there a specific type of assessment or assignment that they're continually doing poorly on? So going over these papers, especially with your child, is a great way to know what's happening academically. As always, if you have any concerns about your student's academic performance, please email the teacher for that appropriate subject. We are always glad to discuss your concerns regarding your child's academic performance. And as for PowerSchool, if you need to know your PowerSchool login, we do not have that information, but the front office does. If you contact them through email or on the telephone, they can give you your parent sign in so you can sign into your child's PowerSchool and view their grades.
Hi everyone, this is Miss Bales. I teach your students social studies and science, and today I'm going to be talking about the COVID-19 procedures that we have in place at our school. We ask that you send your students to school daily with a mask. We are using masks at all times. The only time students are not wearing masks are at lunchtime when they're eating and at recess time when we are outside playing. So we do ask that you send your student to school with a mask daily. And we know people forget, so sometimes we will have masks available for your students if they do forget. Also, at this time, due to COVID, we are not allowing our students to use our water fountains at school. So we are allowing students to bring water bottles to school from home. Please make sure your student is filling their water bottles up with water from home, and they are absolutely allowed to refill their water bottles during the day when needed. If you have any questions about this, you can reach out to Miss Kennedy through email or through phone. And the next thing that we're going to talk about is the teachers and the subjects. I'm Miss Bells, like I said earlier, and I teach your students social studies and science. And the best way to contact me if you have questions is through my email, and I have it listed here. Miss Booth will be teaching your student ELA. Um, and she's also handling Scholastic book orders this year, so that's super, super exciting for us this year with our students. Her email is there also for you to contact her. And Miss McCrary, she is teaching your students math this year, and the best way to contact her is through email. And we have listed our emails here below for you guys. So feel free to contact us at any time. We do ask that you guys give us at least a 24-hour response time because, sometimes with life things get busy, but we do try to email back pretty quickly. And another great tool that we use in fourth grade is the Remind app. We use this app all the time for little reminders for our students for when things are coming up. Like Smoothie King, we'll send out a remind for that. Alternative dress days, those things will go out to through Remind. Maybe one day we'll send out homework reminds or test reminds. So this Remind app is a great way for us to send you little reminders throughout the day. And the best way to sign up for Remind is using the information below, is texting the number below and the code. And that is how you guys can access the Remind app for us. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Hi, this is Ms. Booth, and I'm going to continue with our slideshow. The first slide that I'm going to discuss is Google Classroom. When the students are absent for any reason, it could be a day, it could be, 2 days, a week, whatever. Um, Please have them go on Google Classroom each day and check to see which work they missed and what needs to be made up. Sometimes there might be assignments on there, sometimes there might be tests that they need to make up. That way, when they come back, they're not as far behind and they don't have to play catch up so much. In ELA, which is the class that I teach, some of their assignments will be through Kami. If you could please Google Kami, and there's a Kami extension, and you can put that on your iPad or your phone or your laptop. And that way, if I have an assignment through Kami, they can access that assignment. All of their logins, they know them. They're in their binders, and they have all of that information. So when you pull up Google Classroom, they know how to log in with their correct username and password. The planning day for September 22nd has been canceled. That was a teacher professional development day, and due to Hurricane Ida and the missed days that we've had due, to no electricity and water, they have decided to have students attend that day. So students will now attend school on September 22nd. And the last slide that I'm going to talk about deals with fidgets. I understand that fidgets are fun to play with and that they can hold someone's attention, but they are starting to become a distraction in class, and so we prefer not to have them, and we prefer the students to keep them in their book sacks. They will be allowed to take them out at recess, and they can play with them at recess, but they are responsible for them if it's their toy. If something happens to it, if it gets lost, that's not our responsibility, and so they're in charge of whatever they bring to school. It would be, great if we could keep them from bringing them to school, but I know sometimes that's what they want to play with, and so that would be okay at recess, but not in the classroom. We will give a warning if we see fidgets out, but after that, then we will start to mark their planners for not following directions.
Thank you so much for following along and listening to our presentation. If you have any questions, we are going to send out a link through the Remind app on Friday, and you can type your questions there, and then we will answer them and send home the answers by the following week on that Wednesday when we send graded papers home. If you could please get all of your questions submitted by the end of Monday, we greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much, and we look forward to teaching your children this year.